Oh, Diame! Here's Hulk! Diame! The cross and it was Bale! Oh, they did it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we are Through on Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and very best friend in the whole wide world, Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
Hello, Sam.
It's Christmas soon.
It is. What is it? 2 weeks? Just under 2 weeks?
Have you done all your Christmas shopping?
I'm getting there. To be honest, the only presents that I'm still waiting on it's actually yours because due to the tier system, we can't celebrate Christmas together.
We can't.
So we're going to have our own Christmas, probably, well, hopefully in January, but probably in like July when we're next allowed out the house. But
that's it.
Yeah, how's your Christmas shopping going?
I mean, yeah, I could be better. Still waiting on a few. By a few, I mean all of them.
All in the post.
Me and Lara got ourselves some joint presents. We were all right. I just got stocking fillers to do. Obviously, there's your present because no Christmas.
Yep.
For those of you that don't care, I'm going to tell you anyway. We go on to classic football shirts. Not a sponsor, but I'd love that.
Yeah, I would. That would be a great sponsor.
And we just have a £20 limit. Choose a page, choose a number. Boom, that's your shirt.
Yeah.
Who did you get? Pegui, or whatever it's called.
Pegua
or something like that.
Perugia?
Yeah.
Perugia. Yeah. Italian third division, I think. Yeah, great shirt.
Yeah.
Great shirt,
Right,
yeah.
So, looking forward to it. We'll
Absolutely.
see. Yeah, obviously, when we eventually meet up January 22, we'll exchange gifts then. So
That's January 2022, not the 22nd of January, for anyone else.
Now, a little insight into the Through on Goal thought process. We look at the week's football, make a not a comprehensive list, but there's a list that's created every week. Elliot, granted, you know, he comes up with all of them. Obviously, we have a bit of meeting before saying, say that. Yeah. Couple of notes. There's a couple of notes. Yeah. But Elliot has simply just put two words at the top of our let's start the podcast with this. Mike Dean.
Mike Dean, yes indeed. As a fan of a club that is not in the Premier League, I absolutely adore Mike Dean. And I can see why absolutely every Premier League fan hates him. Every Mike Dean game is the Mike Dean show. It's perfect, isn't it?
I can tell you another person that loves Mike Dean, and that's Mike Dean. He is something else, isn't he? He's right. Okay. So context for reason why he obviously gave out his 3,000th yellow card, and then immediately proceeded.
For Matty Cash.
Yeah, for Matt Cash, and then literally about a couple of minutes later started on the road to the 4,000th because he just whacked out another one. So also, I think I saw a tweet that Matty Cash was 2 days old when Mike Dean produced his first ever yellow card. Full circle, that isn't it?
That is incredible. That's
it. When you're in the hospital, like your mum and dad looking down at you, thinking Mike Dean's going to book you one day, and it's going to be talked about on a podcast. That's what we want. Right. Honest thoughts, though. Right. Do you actually like Mike Dean? Because I get it. He's a bit of a character, and you don't really get that with refs. But is he good? Is he a good ref? I don't even know if he's a good ref or not.
Yeah, my reasoning is for liking Mike Dean is because I'm watching every Premier League match as a neutral, and he makes the games more entertaining. The games are more entertaining with him refereeing than not. But yes, I could see
he's a massive Tranmere fan, and I like that.
He's a proper wind-up. But
yeah,
I think there were 2 red cards and 11 yellows in this Wolves versus Aston Villa game, and like I don't know about you, but I was watching it and I wasn't actually thinking it was that dirty of a game. It was a little bit scrappy, but it wasn't like violent.
A lot of the yellow cards were just.
It was a bit.
Were they?
Yeah, it was like I think he awarded 3 yellow cards for like little shirt pulls, not sort of last man tugging player back, little just sort of petulant shirt pulls. And there was one as well. I want to say it was maybe when Matt Targett and Esri Konsa both got booked. Matt Targett got booked pretty fairly, to be honest. Esri Konsa's got across and said something. Mike Dean hasn't even put his card down. He's just turned round to him and kept it up. But I mean, he did make what was a relatively it was a hard fought game, but it wasn't the most entertaining game in the world. But he made it entertaining just because of how much. Like you could tell it's Christmas with the amount of cards he's getting out. Honestly,
you had to bring it to Christmas. Yes. So next week will be fun because obviously that's our last podcast before Christmas. So we'll try and squeeze as many Christmas puns as we can in, and that's my job. But
it'll be a cracker of an episode.
If you've got me groaning, that's something.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're not.
If this is the last
yes,
time you are listening to Through a Goal, I fully understand.
yeah, don't tell your friends that part.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there's really much more to say about the game in general. It was a 0-0. Oh, no, it wasn't.
It was 1-0. It was
1-0, and the
penalty.
Matinho got a red card, yeah. So, obviously, Villa still... It's a bigger loss for Wolves there, I think. Obviously, want to try and keep up with the European spots, but...
They're really struggling without Jimenez. And obviously, it's unknown to how long it is until he will be back, but it's positive news because he's come out of hospital during the week, and so there is. It does seem like there is going to be a return date, and it's not going to be a repeat of Ryan Mason. Yes,
that's what I was about to say. They do seem fairly confident that he will be playing football again, which is very, very good news, regardless if you're a Wolves fan or not. It's just you hate to see it.
Yeah.
But on the news of obviously, they are struggling. You know, they signed 35 million 18-year-old, didn't they? And he hasn't exactly hit the ground running, which it's just big shoes to fill, and obviously a big price tag. He needs some experience. But I think I read that they're looking at a short-term loan deal for Rondon in January.
Well, okay, yeah, I can see that working.
Done the job in the Premier League. You know, he can score goals. He was pretty good for Newcastle. I'm very surprised they didn't.
He went off with Rafa to China, didn't he?
To China, yeah.
But
But what shall we? Oh god, if we did this podcast like Match of the Day, which we did in the first couple of episodes, but obviously we've toned down since then. Much to Lana's delight, because they went on for ages. The Manchester derby wouldn't even be talking about it, in all fairness. And to be fair, I'm tempted not to, because what happened? Obviously, Paddy Powell, £5 free bet, gave it to Dad, and I said, right, there you go, you pick a £5 free bet. And he picked Bruno Fernandes, 2 shots on target, and Kevin De Bruyne, 2 shots on target. And I believe at half time we turned it off to watch Catchphrase. Because it's so boring. Get to check it back on FootMob, not a sponsor yet. And Bruno Fernandes ended the game with 2 shots on target. De Bruyne had none. So...
What about the classic commentary line?
Right, yeah, I was tagged in that, and I was insulted, the fact that I was tagged in that. How dare you, Wes, tag me in that? Because my puns are a little bit left to be desired. I will take some criticism, not all of it, because sometimes they're funny. But come on now, that was shocking.
De Bruyne, oh no. Also, when you first watched that, was your first thought Diaby, who played for Arsenal? I thought, why are they mentioning him?
Who absolutely just didn't. He never played, did he? He was injured all the time.
Although I'm sure Arsenal fans will agree that sometimes it is better your centre mids being injured than playing. We'll get to that later.
So we may as well get onto it in a second, because there's nothing else to talk about. Man United picked up. I guess it's a better point for United than it is for City. They got knocked out of the Champions League fairly comfortably. Looked like there was a bit of a way back in, but no. Yeah. But also, just very quickly as well, Rainola is just the biggest
scumbag.
What is he to football? He offers nothing. Anyway, we won't talk about him because I just don't want to talk about him. So
gets your blood pressure going.
It's been a fun day, Elliot.
Yeah.
Right. So you come off the pitch about a year ago, and you're getting booed by the fans. You put your hands to your ears. You give it all that. You take off the shirt, throw it on the floor, go straight down the tunnel. You're stripped of your captaincy. That's it. But no, someone's like, I'll give you another chance. Find a way back. You'd want to prove yourself. You'd want to be, I'm sorry, I've made a mistake. I get it. And granted, when we came back after lockdown, Granit Xhaka wasn't the worst Arsenal player there was.
Because David Luiz was worse.
David Luiz, took the thing off. Now, we said it last week. I don't want to dwell on it too much, obviously, because we did mention him last week. But what seriously does he offer to Arsenal? Do Arsenal fans even want him at the club anymore? I'm sensing a strong no.
It's shocking, isn't it? Like you say, what does he offer? And after lockdown, I think he went quite a few games without picking up a card, and it was like, okay, is he a new player? Is he going to turn it on a little bit next season? Well, no,
what a stupid red card to get as well with VAR. You can't put your hands around someone's neck. You can't do it anyway. But
he's got, with that sending off, he's got the first red card of the season that fans have actually been able to witness.
Of course, Arsenal fans witnessing a Xhaka card.
Also, my highlight of that game is there's a picture which is going to be used on social media for all of time to come of an Arsenal fan with his face mask over over his eyes so he couldn't watch it.
And they booed at the end, didn't they? Like when the final whistle went, they booed. Arsenal are 15th. They are, I think, 5 points off relegation. It's there. I think the commentator said they were start for like 50 odd years?
Yeah, they're 5 points off relegation. And that's awful. You mean
surely it's time up for Arteta.
So I'm going to stick by what I said, in that I don't think Arteta's the problem, and I've had Arsenal fans message me saying that they agree. It's the board, it's the politics around the club. But eventually, these results are going to cost Arteta his job, and whether it's his fault or not, he's going to lose his job over it. And it's going to be the same cycle in a year's time. They'll get somebody else in, and there'll be another failure because of the hierarchy at the club.
Well, I mean, good news for Aubameyang though, breaking his goal duct at the Emirates. We love a good stat.
We do.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has scored more goals for opposition teams than he has for Arsenal at the Emirates this season.
It's quite something, isn't it? I'm not sure if I mentioned it previously, but do you think he's got a streak of the Adebayor in him, that he's got his new deal?
You did mention that last week.
And he just stops performing.
Yeah. It's not just him though, is it?
No,
it is pretty much everyone. There's not really a performer in that team like right now.
You'd have to say
stands out. They play like there are some individual players that play well, but we mentioned this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like keep dwelling on it. But where do you go? Like
I mean,
Burnley were below Arsenal. They still are, but that's a team that Arsenal, with their quality and their depth, should be beating them, especially on the season that Burnley are having.
I think I saw that when that goal went in to make it 1-0, that's the first time Burnley have ever led at the Emirates.
Wow.
Ever. And yeah, I mean, you can write off the league position right now. You're not going to be getting European places. Doesn't matter what you do with Arteta, with the players, whatever. You're too far off and it's not going to happen. But I'm sure they will just have to put all of their priority onto Europa League, onto FA Cup, because that is their way into Europe next year, because they are not doing it through the league.
Obviously, Arsenal dropped 3 points. Top of the league, top of the table, though, they've been drop points all over the shop.
Yeah.
Now, Tottenham dropping some points against Palace. Obviously, we talk about how the defensive football mindset can work last week. Today's a prime example how you just need to kill off a game.
Yeah.
You can't just go 1-0. Lucky goal, all due respect to Kane. Obviously, not that Kane and Son combination again. I mean, it wasn't one of their final ones, but it goes down in the statistics, in the records books anyway. But when Tottenham obviously drop points, you think, Fulham, Liverpool, right, okay, Liverpool back top of the league. Yeah. My boys, Fulham, went absolutely not. Now, I've got a question for you, Elliot.
Yep.
Do you think Jurgen Klopp wants to go top of the league more than he hates Chris Wilder?
I thought you were going to say, because or does he want to go on a date with Scott Parker?
Because I tell you what, he really hates Chris Wilder for giving Fulham a point. Come on now.
I don't get it.
Huge. That makes the game Wednesday. And I'm gutted that obviously we released this on a Tuesday and we recorded it before it. But that game Wednesday for top of the league versus second, purely on goal difference. I think it's now come down to 5 goal difference in it now. It was a fairly big before, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Tottenham have been fairly, I wouldn't lucky, because obviously they deserve to be where they are, because they have been brilliant. Obviously today's not a good example. Only lost 1 game all season, but it feels like Liverpool have, like Brighton, and again today, where they could have gone top, but I don't know what's happening. Tottenham got quite lucky in the sense that no team seems to be capitalising. Now, saying that, Leicester obviously won today, and they're only 2 points off top, so that could have gone. Chelsea obviously dropped points.
You got Southampton up there.
Won.
West Ham aren't a million miles off. Another big win on Friday.
Between first and fifth, I think there's only 4 points in it. So this Christmas is weird.
Yeah, Wednesday is an enormous game. Now, if you're Mourinho on Wednesday, do you play for a point?
A point keeps them top. But he was playing for a point against Palace, not playing for a point against Palace. I think the thing is with Liverpool is that, let's say Tottenham do what they do against Arsenal, Palace, pretty much every team they've done this season, they go 1-0 up. Yeah. That counter-attack, Son into Kane, or Kane into Son, you know what I mean? 1-0 up, done. You cannot sit back on a team like Liverpool with Salah, Mane, if Jota's fit, he's in form. Wijnaldum's in a very good bit of form recently. You can't sit back. Now, Tottenham have a fairly big advantage going into this game over Liverpool, as Tottenham don't really have any injury concerns, but Liverpool don't seem to have any fit centre-backs.
Yeah, it's...
Because Matip went off.
Yeah, thing is, like you say, you don't sit back against Liverpool. But we sat here last week saying that Liverpool are probably the second best counter counter-attacking team in the league. So, do you sit off Liverpool, nullify that threat so that it's not a counter-attack, it's just... But then, I suppose the way Liverpool then play that is it's just relentless attacking.
Just attack, pace, power, everything in the attack that they have. And like their midfielders, because Tottenham's midfielders are quite fairly defensive. Now, other than Henderson, Curtis Jones is proving to be a very good player for Liverpool who gets forward. Wijnaldum gets forward. Oxlade-Chamberlain's come back. He likes to get forward.
Minamino as well.
Like Minamino, yeah, he's rapid, he's quick, he comes on. So when you look at their midfield, if you're sitting off Liverpool, their attacking midfield are at you. If you're sitting off Tottenham, I feel like it's only really their attack. Bar maybe one midfield. Obviously, Sissoko and Højbjerg likes a long shot. Fun stat on 5 Live today. I think Højbjerg last season had the most attempts on goal without scoring a goal.
Okay.
He had 44 shots on target last season.
Good stat.
Didn't score one.
Good stat.
We love a good stat. So, one day they'll nestle the top bins. But, until then, he still hasn't. So, what would you do? Seeing how Tottenham play and Liverpool play, you are manager of each team. What are you thinking?
So if I was Jose Mourinho, I would sit off Liverpool. I would have Højbjerg, and I'd probably go Sissoko over Ndombele. Just he's that bit less technical.
Yeah, but Sissoko and Ndombele played it together. They don't play in the same position, to be honest.
I'd go Sissoko next to Højbjerg with Lo Celso up front. Lo Celso in behind, so that he can, between Højbjerg and Lo Celso, they can thread those passes.
Okay.
And I would play for the 1-0 there.
You wouldn't choose Ndombele, because he's had, when he's on form and on fire, he could play. He's power as well in that midfield. Højbjerg, Sissoko and Ndombele in that midfield.
I just don't know if there's enough sort of creativity from that. I mean, Ndombele is relatively creative, but I think Lo Celso is like a kind of a number 10, a little bit more creative.
No, I see. But he's more of a kind of a Dele Alli player. Ndombele's very Moussa Dembele, I think.
Yes,
he's got that style about him.
If I was Liverpool, I think I'd go kind of all out attack, really. Like you say, just have Henderson holding and go very sort of... if I was Liverpool, I wouldn't be playing for the point, because they know Mourinho will be happy with the point, whether he's playing for it or not.
He stays top of the league, doesn't he?
But it's a big opportunity for both teams. Huge opportunity.
And seeing how Tottenham have held off against teams that have attacked, obviously Arsenal's not a great example right now, because they're just not a good example right now. On form, on fire, all those players on form, that could have been a different game. And Palace, it was called for it, weren't they? It was coming, it really was. So I can't wait. What's your prediction? What do you think?
If I had to predict, I'm gonna say it is gonna be a draw, because it's not
Score draw, or
I'd go probably a 1-1, because it's not a game which is a must win, but it's a mustn't lose. Because if you're thinking from a Tottenham mindset, Liverpool take a 3-point lead in the league table, you're thinking, are we actually going to catch that up? Or Liverpool, to a certain extent, I know it's very early in the season, but we know Liverpool can go huge amounts of games winning every game. Are they going to drop those points?
At Anfield as well. They don't lose at Anfield.
Yeah.
That being said, 4-0 top. So, no,
Is that what your mum told you to say?
I'm thinking...
Evening, Karen.
I want to say hello, Mum. I want to say score draw, but deep down, I think it's a Liverpool win. I think it's I don't think it's by much. I don't think it's going to be a high win. I think maybe a 1-0 or like a 2-1, only by one. But speaking of which, obviously, who has the best defensive record in the league this season?
So the team that has
tell you who it isn't, and it's Sheffield United.
So the team that has conceded the least goals is Tottenham.
Tottenham. And who's the team that scores the most?
Liverpool.
It's Liverpool.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be 0-0, isn't it?
Yeah. But so we've got the question on the notes of which Premier League team has the best defence. And I think Tottenham have only conceded the least because it's Mourinho ball, because it's Jose football. I think the best defence in the league is at Chelsea. Well, currently.
You reckon?
Not who's got the best defensive players in the squad, because obviously Liverpool are without Van Dijk. They're struggling at the back at the moment. But currently, I think Tottenham are a decent centre-back away from being the best defensive team, or having the best defence in the league.
I think Alderweireld and Dyer have been no one saw it coming, I don't think, just how much of a part. It was always Alderweireld Alderweireld, Vertonghen. And then when Vertonghen was injured, it was Sanchez who came in.
Yep.
And Alderweireld, and Dyer will play CDM. And Dyer didn't like playing CDM. He never liked it. He put him in centre-back with, I think, Sanchez to start didn't work, and then Alderweireld. It's just been, ever since, he's been a revelation, not a revolution. Dave pointed out I said revolution the other week. It's not a revolution, it's a revelation. So
Yes.
thanks for that. And he really has at centre-back. That partnership has been really good. I do get it, though. And obviously you've got Tanganga coming, you've got, you've still got Sanchez, he's pretty good. But I might have to agree. The depth in Chelsea's defence, like Reece James, Tomori, Chilwell, all like under 23, aren't they?
Yeah.
At least. And you've got to think they're brilliant. Like they're really good. Obviously, you've got one for the future. Then you've got Christensen, Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta. And obviously, Azpilicueta and Silva bring such good experience to the team and like some leadership as well. Obviously, Azpilicueta is Chelsea's captain. But,
club captain.
I don't think he has been, but yeah. But obviously, Silva. Only thing, obviously, is that left back spot. Now, when Chilwell does get injured,
Emerson
or Alonso.
And it's not that strong, is it? But it's what you need to do. It's what we've seen at Liverpool. If there's a problem, it gets addressed. And they've gone and spent, 40-50 million on Chilwell? Maybe even more. They can easily get 7-8 years out of him.
On him, yeah. And obviously, and their midfield is very good also. Like, obviously, you've got Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho, Havertz, Mount, even this Billy Gilmore. Like, he's really good. I remember last year, was it against Liverpool in the Capital One Cup? It might have been that.
Fabinho.
It was FA. Yeah.
I want to say, it was FA Cup. It was one of those sort of Tuesday night.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, he nutmegged Fabinho. And
it was brilliant for him.
Yeah,
and
shown a lot of times.
I think he got injured, didn't he? And he's come back and he started the Champions League game and it was like, oh yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he got man of the match in the Champions League game, didn't he?
Yeah, so there was a lot of talk about, obviously, Lampard's decision making, I think, last season. I think some of the subs he makes is not all there and stuff. But yeah, they've conceded 12 this season. They're still there. Not a good, obviously, they lost 1-0 to Everton. Not a good week to talk about Chelsea.
Yeah,
but
that was the first real mistake we've seen of Mendy since coming to the Premier League, wasn't it? It was just came out and clattered. I can't think who it was. It was a definite penalty, obviously,
definitely.
But he was second to the ball.
But do you think, because I know, obviously, at the beginning of our season, this season, obviously, we didn't really go for Chelsea to win the league. We didn't have them really up there, I don't think. I think I had them second, I think. But do you think...
Right.
Do you think the reason why people may not see Chelsea's title contenders, because I don't really see people talk about them. I don't know about you, but on Twitter and stuff, I don't see people talk about Chelsea being there.
Yeah.
Do you think that is because of Frank Lampard?
Potentially not getting the credit he maybe deserves.
He's a young English manager that building a good team at Chelsea. They win, they go top of the league kind of. They're in that kind of status at the moment. But it's Frank Lampard. Do you really think someone like Frank Lampard can win the league? Do you know what I mean? That's not me saying that, but...
Yeah, but is it a little bit disrespectful on him? Yeah, maybe, because he showed what a good job he could do last season with obviously the transfer ban. Did really well with the youth players, done far better than anyone really expected. And yeah, I mean, they're serious title contenders at the moment. I mean, they are a little bit off the pace, especially with the defeat of the weekend. But yeah, I think he maybe deserves a little bit more respect. And yeah, I think you're right on that maybe it's a bit of, it's Frank Lampard. The same way that I think if Gerrard were to get a job in the Premier League or whatever, or maybe not getting enough credit for what he's doing at Rangers. It's in the Scottish League. It's Steven Gerrard.
But people say the same about Tottenham. It's Tottenham, but they're top of the league. You know, this is their longest they've been top of the league. I think since 1984 or something like that. So but people maybe not take it seriously because it's Tottenham. Are people not really thinking Chelsea title contenders? No, because it's Lampard. Is he? He's not a big name. He's not your.
It's not a Guardiola. It's not a Klopp. It's not a Solskjaer. No.
So all right. On the conversation of Gerrard though, like genuinely though, what he has done at Rangers this season is phenomenal.
They're doing incredible, and I mean it was the climax of the Europa League group stages in the week. They finished top of their group, only dropping points in 2 games, both of them against Benfica, and both of them they'd gone 2 goals up against. And I mean they're smashing the league at the moment. There's riots going on outside Celtic Park every weekend. But yeah, he's doing a brilliant job, and I think he'll have some big names coming for him in the not so distant future.
Well, he's 13 points clear. Celtic have 2 games in hand, but they're 13 points clear. Unbeaten, not lost a single game this season. Played 17, won 15, drawn 2. And they've scored the most, 47 goals. And get this, they've conceded the least. 4 goals they've conceded this season.
Geez.
4. Now,
I've noticed a few times as well, they have really dispatched some teams. They've won some games like 7 and 8-0.
Yeah, so on the topic of obviously Gerrard, I know when the time time comes, it is inevitable that Gerrard will be manager of Liverpool. Of course, it's happening. You know, he's getting a good chance in Europe. But let's put a question to you, Elliot, because I love putting questions to you because it means I don't have to answer questions and give my opinion. But I will anyway. Sheffield United sack Chris Wilder. Would you go for Gerrard?
See, I don't think that's the question. I think the question is, does Gerrard take the job? And I don't think he would. If Chris Wilder were to get sacked and there was the chance that Gerrard could take the job, you'd 100% approach him. The turnaround he's had at Rangers has been incredible. But I don't think he takes the job.
No, to be fair, no, I don't. He's Europa League, you know, he's building a very good kind of team at Rangers, and obviously he's gone quite far in the Europa League. But do you consider, like, as a Sheffield, like if you're a Sheffield United fan, do you look at Gerrard, look at a young English manager like Gerrard, and do you think, you know, he would suit my team? Now, I know what you say. It's what you said earlier. Are we saying, it's only the Scottish League? But regardless of the Scottish League, he's unbeaten and conceded 4 goals this season.
I think if a team like Sheffield United were to be able to pull that off, it would be a hell of a signing for them. But yeah, I don't think he gives up on the project that he's at to go to another project, or at least not a Sheffield United at this stage.
I think they're down.
It's looking that way, isn't it? It's a shame.
They are Derby territory. They're going into Christmas with 1 point.
Yeah, I really feel sorry for them because I think they do everything the right way. Their recruitment, I can't even bash too much. I mean, it looks like Brewster hasn't worked out so far, but I'm a big fan of Sanderberg, whatever his name is, and they go about it the right way. They're hard-working players who, as individuals, perhaps are overachieving. That's not saying that the club are overachieving, but they were expected to be in this territory 12 months ago, and they're in the discussion for Europe. And until the ghost goal went in at Villa in the first game back after lockdown,
that killed.
There were talks of Europe. There were genuine talks of Europe, and I'd like to see them turn it around, but I just can't see it happening at this stage.
Well, speaking of the Championship, let's move on to our EFL roundup now. No real, obviously the Wales derby, Cardiff-Swansea at the weekend. Swansea won comfortably 2-0. Always a fun game that, but I'd love to see fans in the derby, as we've seen with the Manchester derby. Without fans,
it's nothing.
Yeah. Obviously Bournemouth just 5-0 against Huddersfield, and Norwich winning as well puts them to both Norwich top of the league and Bournemouth second, not by, I think, 3 points separate them.
It's 3 points, yeah.
And, you know, my team, I've said who might bounce back up, and then your team, you said you might bounce back up.
Yeah, no, we're looking good.
Bournemouth have really pulled something off this season, haven't they? Assistant manager taken over as manager. They kept, obviously, Solanke seems to be some scoring some goals this season for Bournemouth, so...
Yeah, no, they're looking very promising at the moment, and good to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, you look at Solanke's, last 3 seasons in the Premier League. Played 21, scored 1, assisted 1. Played 10, scored none, assisted 1. Played 32, scored 3, assisted 1. Not an incredible statistics range, but this season he's played 18, scored 8, assisted 4. Now it's decent numbers there for him. A case of going back down and kind of rebuilding and finding your confidence again, and then it seems to be happening with Bournemouth and Norwich. Yeah. Maybe that's what Sheffield United need.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah, just a bit of time to rebuild and maybe just get rid of a little bit of deadwood, and maybe there's some players that really aren't pulling their weight, and come back a stronger team.
Now, we didn't have good weeks, did we? I had an even worse week.
Yeah, you had a worse week.
Because this podcast has made me care about the Pizza Cup. I didn't care about the Johnston. Oh no, I cared about the Johnston's paint trophy, but then I didn't care about the EFL Cup, and then I didn't care about Checkatrade?
Checkatrade
didn't care about
trophy, and then was it leasing.com?
Then I didn't care about leasing.com. Then Papa John's had to come along, and I cared. And then us talking about it, I cared. So you know how we said that obviously I'll be doing the Southern team. I will be supporting Cambridge, and then whoever knocks Cambridge out, I'll be supporting them where Cambridge go. So that's the way I'll do it.
Okay.
Lost 2-0, not good. And then again at Doncaster. Now I didn't watch it, but from what I've seen on many Gillingham fan Twitters, and obviously I follow a lot of Gills on my Twitter, it was probably one of the worst first half of football people have ever seen. I don't think Gillingham, I think they only had 1 shot on target the whole game. Could be wrong. Ooh. The stats are shocking. I don't know if you want to have a quick look at Football Flash scores.
I will have a
just a quick answer at that, because
Gillingham had 1 shot on target.
Doncaster had
Donny had 8.
Yeah, so didn't deserve to win that at all. That was such a good opportunity as well to be 2 points off players, within a good grasp of the playoffs. However, no.
Yeah. But talking of teams which had one shot on target, takes us to the KC Stadium, where Hull City had one shot on target and lost 1-0 against a team that Eden Hazard once called Strawberry. So that's all we need to talk about on that one. But we had I say slightly better week. We drew 0-0 at home to Crewe in the Pizza Cup and beat them on penalties. George Long saving a penalty by standing straight down the middle. I love it. But yeah, I mean, we're through to the next round of what's now forever called the Pizza Cup.
The Pizza Cup.
And we've got Fleetwood again in that. Before this season, we'd never played them before. This is the third time we've less than 20 games into the season.
Third time, at least 20, yeah.
And yeah.
Who won at the weekend, by the way, putting them within 3 points off the playoffs.
But hopefully it can be more like the second game against Fleetwood and not like the first.
Oh yeah, we want to Captain Pugwash constantly over and over again. Anyway, I was thinking of a question to put to you about Hull City, and I'm going to put a question to you about Hull City.
Yes.
Now, we talk about obviously Norwich, Bournemouth, and obviously maybe Sheffield United. They need to go down to come back up again and to feel stronger and rejuvenated and stuff. Now, there's no doubt that Hull City have gone down and they're coming back strong. The top of the league, they're very, very strong. Do you think Hull City would still be in that same position with Grant McCann as manager?
If we'd have sacked Grant McCann.
Yeah, oh yeah. So if you had sacked Grant McCann, do you reckon Hull would still be the top of the league, like storming it in League One? The reason I ask is because he's obviously proven them wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I say proven them wrong. He's, you know, the Alans had the faith in him and they've put him back, kept behind him, and he's top of League One. Okay. However, we all know and remember what the Grant McCann of Hull City in the Championship was. Now, would that not have been a good opportunity to maybe find someone new who can get them into the Championship and maybe, you know, do you get what I'm saying? So do you think, would you have rather have seen Grant McCann leave someone else in charge?
I mean, a massive part of that is who would our replacement be? Because if we went and got, can't even pluck a name off the top of my head. Yeah, Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's available for every job.
Pochettino or Sam Allardyce. Yeah. Alan Kirbishley.
I'm available.
Yeah, he's always available.
But yeah, if we'd have gone and got a real sort of bang average name, then no, probably not. We probably wouldn't be in the same position. But the players seem to like McCann and buy into the system. And I mean, it was always going to be tough for McCann once Grzycki and Bowen got sold on the last day of the window. And I think as well that at the start of the season, McCann probably had 5, 6, 7 games to keep his job, because if we'd have been half a dozen games in and lower mid-table, that would have been unacceptable. You get him gone. But I think because of the start that we had, didn't concede in a lot of games, we were winning every game, went and beat Leeds on penalties. He's earned his job back.
Yeah.
And I think once fans do come back, there aren't going to be the boos that we heard at the KC pre-COVID.
No, but do you, as a Hull fan, obviously try not to give you Vietnam flashbacks of, you know, the 6 months ago? Are you
going to mention the DW Stadium?
Oh, I won't mention the 8-0 to Wigan. I wouldn't do that to you. But do you not get nervous about potentially going up back in the Championship with Grant McCann as manager?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because we got completely found out, and every team knew how to play against us, and every team was blowing us apart. When we had the big games, our players crumbled, whether that's a mental thing or what, I don't know, because when you're on the kind of run we are on, you don't know where your next point's coming from. But I would worry going back up, and I think that even though we are doing well in the league, and I do expect us to be back in the Championship next season, we would still need improvements on this team, because although Eves and McGuinness are scoring goals for us, I think that they proved last season they're not Championship caliber strikers. I don't think they're going to easily get double figures in the Championship. So I think were we to get promoted, we would have to invest upwards of $1 million, which in this post-COVID time could be a big amount of money, into a striker, into a centre forward, into someone who can get double figures. Because we do play quite heavily on the wings, and we do get goals from players like Malik Wilkes, from Keane Lewis Potter, but you need a focal point up the front, and at the moment it's working, but we don't have a Championship striker in the squad.
No. Oh, well, there you go. From a Hull City fan, Elliot Clifford legend. Moving on. So, you're a Bradford City legend. You played well over 400 or 500 games for them. You scored a fair few goals for them in your time. You then become caretaker manager. Obviously, you lose your job. Then in 2007, you get given the Bradford manager job. You then lose it again. 2016, like, do you know what? We'll give you another go. You then lose your job. And in 2020, you think one more go, and then he's just lost his job again. He's been manager of Bradford Bradford 4 times. He's lost his job 4 times. And I've just looked at their record. Have you seen their record in recently?
Can't say I have, no.
Holy hell. Of the last 8 games, they've lost 7 and drawn 1.
Oh, nice.
Amazing.
But also, if you're ever listening to this episode again and it's around sort of July, August time and the season hasn't started, go on Sky Bet, go on Bet365, go on your bookies of choice and look at the League 2 winners odds, and I can guarantee Bradford are up there. They always are, and they never do anything. But my favourite thing about Stuart McCall being sacked for the 4th time is that he's now
evil man. My favourite thing about man losing a job during COVID.
So 3 of the times that he's been sacked have been in 2000, 2010, and they obviously just had a look at the calendar because he's now been sacked in 2020. And I'm really looking forward to episode 580 of Through and Goal, where we say that Stuart McCall has been sacked by Bradford for the 5th time in 2030.
The year's 2030. I'll be... How old will I be? Mid-30s?
You'll be 34.
I'll be 34. God.
I'll be 35. Gee.
And yeah, Stuart McCall is manager.
Jacob will be 11.
Jake, yeah, okay, thanks for that. Footmob will still be a sponsor, potentially, maybe.
Yeah. And classic football shirts jointly.
Please. So, yeah, and
Sab needs a car.
they are... We're really thirsty, aren't we, for sponsors?
Hopefully it's not coming on too thick.
No, rather we mention it every bloody week. Yeah, so Stevenage, Bradford and Barrow are all... Stevenage are in the relegation zone, just on goal difference. Mm-hmm. But they're all 13 points, Barrow, Stevenage and Bradford. However, the goal difference that separates them is Stevenage in the relegation -9, Bradford above them -8, and Barrow above them -6. There is not much in it at all.
Barrow also sacked their manager David Dunn this weekend.
Oh, David Dunn. I only know him for one thing, and I think you know the exact thing.
We all know exactly what it is, don't we?
That failed Rabona that he tried to do, that made Steve Bruce even laugh. Made him go, what is he doing here?
Yes. Yeah.
Running segment of our podcast is, has the Schalke manager been sacked yet?
What was his name again?
I can't remember his name. It was David Wagner.
It was, and then he got sacked. Manuel Baum.
Has he been sacked yet? The answer is no. We picked the wrong Bundesliga manager to be sacked. Because Dortmund's manager.
Lucien Favre. Favre?
So yeah, he unfortunately, that's a shame, been sacked. Now, Mauricio Pochettino at Borussia Dortmund. What are you saying?
See, Dortmund are obviously a massive club. They've had Champions League finals they've won the Champions League, obviously, not in our sort of memory, but they're a massive club. But I think they're the step below where Pochettino is looking at, because he's looking for one of the mega powers in world football. I think he's looking for a Real Madrid. He's looking for a Man United. He's looking for a big name, and I think Dortmund are that step below.
So Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United both have jobs available, and they ask you to be your manager. Mm-hmm. You're taking the Man United job.
That's a tough one, because I feel like you'd be given more freedom at Dortmund, but I think there's a higher ceiling of what you can do with Man United. Because imagine you come back, and I'm sure every United manager since Fergie has had the thought, what if I'm the one that turns them around? What if I'm the next Ferguson? If he does well at Dortmund, he'll be remembered as a good manager, a Jurgen Klopp, obviously a world-class manager. But you do well at United, and that's a whole different kettle of fish.
But Dortmund have arguably one of the better attacks in European football, like Haaland, Sancho. They've got this Reina coming through United
Gio
States.
Reyna.
Yeah, very good.
Fantastic player.
Bellingham. I don't know if he set the world on fire in the.
He's 17 though, and he's
young.
He's still playing. Yeah,
played 9, assisted 2. Yeah, all right. The defense may be aging slightly, and midfield could do something, but it's a good squad. It's a young squad, and Pochettino, we've seen at Tottenham. He's very good. He's very good when you've got a young squad for him. So I don't know how to say it. I know what you mean. There's less pressure, I think, taking the Dortmund job, because with all due respect to the Bundesliga, I think if you're a Dortmund manager, you've almost certainly got a Champions League football space for you, unless obviously you do a Schalke and you go way down. And obviously that squad that they've got in the Champions League, it's a good squad. Man United, far too much pressure, and I don't think managers since obviously Ferguson, David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, even like Mourinho Mourinho
Yeah.
couldn't really do anything with United, you know. His greatest achievement at United was finishing second with that squad. And who's
Yeah.
above them? Who's above, you know, the manager? It's Ed Woodward. And would you want him? Now, don't get me wrong, Pochettino's worked under Daniel Levy, so he can work under whoever.
Yes.
Like, you know, but I don't know. I guess you're given the budget and you'd be like, yeah, you know, get who you want. And Pochettino's not really had that before, obviously, with Southampton and Spurs. But Dortmund have Dortmund's youth and the young players they have coming through. It's just...
As a football fan, I would rather watch Dortmund under Pochettino than Manchester United under Pochettino.
Yeah.
I think he'd be able to stamp his authority a bit more. And yeah, like you say, he gets the best out of young players. But I think if you're the manager and you're given these two choices on a bit of paper, you see the name. I think you go for the name.
Yeah, no, I get it. I suppose there were obviously during the takeover of Newcastle potential, there was talk of Pochettino, wasn't there? So he's everywhere. I'm just excited to see what he does next, obviously, because he's no doubt that he's a brilliant manager. You know, he took Tottenham to a Champions League final. Like, yeah. So
while we're still on the Bundesliga and we were talking about Schalke, they very, very, very nearly got their first win of the season today.
Yeah.
They were playing away at Augsburg. Augsburg were down to 10 men from the 53rd minute, and within 9 minutes of the player getting sent off, Schalke were winning. They held on to it. The 93rd minute, 10-man Augsburg equalised, and not quite.
It's harsh, but yeah, they've not won a game. They've just not won a game all season.
Yeah, I think, what was it? They've only won one league game in the calendar year.
They did so well in like the club friendlies pre-season. You're thinking, yeah, this is all right. And then the first game they lose 8-0 to Bayern, and that's pretty much been it ever since.
Sort of set the tone, didn't it?
You know, they won in the DFB Pokal, and they've got Ulm next. You know, that big game. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Just in that Ulm.
Oh, that's literally what they got. It wasn't me going, what are their names? I don't know. It's the name is Ulm.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, they'll probably lose that.
Right, we are going to end the podcast with a pun. Now, it is my last pun before Christmas, so I've tried to make it semi-Christmassy. I'm going to say a pun, and I'm going to end the podcast because I can't find any news headlines anymore, so I've gone for puns. I still haven't written an outro. I will do eventually. Maybe in the new year. We'll see. Let's say the pun. Going to end the podcast. It might be funny. You might laugh. You might not. You probably won't. So, the pun is as follows. Don't believe it when they say you can keep a turkey in the freezer for months. I put one in last night, and this morning it was dead. So we thank you very much for listening to the podcast this week. We are Through a Goal on Twitter. TO Goal Podcast on Twitter, actually. We are Through a Goal on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcast, you hear our voices everywhere. You can't get away. And, you know, we're sorry for that, but we're not. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week for the last podcast before Christmas. And
calling it the Christmas special?
No, because we're ending the year, aren't we? We're doing after Christmas.
Are we doing a Christmas special and a New Year special?
Well, the New Year special, spoiler alert, guys. But yeah, Elliot, the New Year special is the Big Fat Football Quiz of 2020. And obviously, that is our New Year special. Big spoiler alert there, but we've got a big, literally the whole episode's going to be the quiz.
We do still need to kind of decide on a format because there's a 3 or 4 month period where there's very few questions. But we'll come to that. We'll decide.
We will get there. And
yes.
We could, obviously our Christmas special is going to be all of the Boxing Day games. Yeah. Every single game that happened. Yeah. So, I look forward to that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening this week. Yes, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. I've been Sam.
I've been Elliot.
And we'll see you in the next one. Tell your friends. Cheers.